Hey guys, so we're going to be doing something a little different now for what we're going to start as a Wednesday series. We're going to start doing kind of more in-depth, detail-y, technical, how-tos. This one's going to be more of a how-to and a data analysis. So right now I'm dealing with really high intake air temperature readings in the car. If it's 80 degrees out like it is right now, it's probably around 110 degrees Fahrenheit for intake air temps, which is really unacceptable. I rebuilt the intake, if you guys saw it on Instagram, so it kind of tucks over to the left side here, to the driver's side. And that helped drop intake temps to, 115 or 110 degrees where they are right now. They were, 125 degrees. It was right above the radiator. So I noticed when I put my headlights up that my intake air temps dropped to, 95 to 100 degrees, which is way better. Still not great, but definitely way better. So I'm hoping the fix for that, since the intake is right behind the headlight, is this piece from Carbon Miata. It is a carbon fiber headlight cover with a NACA duct built into it. Where the intake sits is really going to be right behind this kind of grate that we have here. Quick install. I ordered this a week and a half ago. It showed up yesterday. So hopefully this works. We'll get in the car. I will show you guys a screen recording of my IATs as I do. It's about a 10-mile loop. I'll do headlights down for half of it, headlights up, and I'll mark in the video where you see the intake air temps drop. It should be pretty dramatic. So 102 degrees is about as flat as I could get it, going 65. It did drop down to 100 once, but 102 is stable. So I've been driving for about 5 minutes at this temperature. I'm gonna put the headlights down now and we'll watch it climb. It goes pretty quickly, so if you just watch it climb up, it starts pretty aggressively and then it'll taper off. And then we'll get to about 118 degrees as our peak temperature for 65 miles an hour. So here it is, 118 degrees. It's pretty stable right here with the headlights down and it's pretty consistent. So this is definitely what we're trying to fix. I want to get this as low as possible because I drive typically headlights down. Just got back from doing that little cruise lap that I do to test out. It's a pretty stable drive. It lets you test out, 65 miles an hour is what I tried to do. I tried to keep a fair distance from the cars in front of me so that I was getting fresh air to the car as repeatable as possible. As you saw with the headlights down, I was about 118 degrees on average. There were a couple times it spiked up, but that was in heavier traffic, so I'm just gonna kind of roll those out. 118 degrees with no cars in front of me, cruising at 65 miles an hour, headlights down. Headlights up, the temp dropped to 100 degrees, and it drops fast, so it's definitely related. A lot of people say it's a low pressure zone and that these things actually suck air out. Whether that's true or not, numbers can tell you a lot of things, but I would rather have the actual facts from my laptop. Real data is way better than speculation, so let's get you some real data. I'm gonna walk you through how to take this cover off and install the new one, get it all leveled up nice, and then we'll go for another loop. So the first step, as you just saw, is putting the headlights up. There's 4 of these Phillips head screws around the outside that hold this plastic cover on. Once you've done that, this cover will just pop off. You can see it's loose right now. There's a little bit of playing you gotta do. It kind of pops around on both sides. And then there's your headlight housing. And you'll see there's 2 on this side. There's a bolt here, there's a bolt here. These have been replaced with 8mm nuts. There's a bolt here and a bolt here as well. We're gonna loosen these. You don't have to take them all the way out, just back them off, maybe 2 turns. It lets the headlight get loose, and then you can slip the new one in over top. Once you've got all 4 bolts loosened, this part's pretty easy, you just gotta be careful. I don't wanna ruin this headlight cover even though I'm replacing it, so just carefully lift up. You gotta wiggle it out sometimes, and then pull away. And there is your headlight cover. Nothing much to it. It's a piece of metal with some tabs on it. So once you have the old headlight cover off, we're gonna go ahead and install the new one. But what I noticed when I went to install it is that these tabs are actually a bit thicker than the factory metal one. So I had to back these screws off a little bit more and not do that. That way we can slide the tabs past them and without bending anything or stressing anything out. So other than that, the install is the opposite of the removal. So I'm just gonna flip it over, carefully line up these tabs here. Slide them on, check the other side, slide them down. And then here, once you're at this point, you still want to leave these pretty loose. I'm going to kind of hand tighten them a little bit. And it's going to be a lot of headlights up, hood down, check the fit, headlights up, hood down, check the fit. It doesn't take very long, but you want to make sure it's right so you don't have the weird saggy headlights. So first thing I do is I line up to this body line over here. Just pull up a tiny bit. Pull up a little bit up front. You want to be careful here. You don't want to use any sort of metal tools just because you don't want to scratch anything. You're like you paint or the carbon fiber, the clear over the carbon. So this is pretty close. Take some tools out of the bay here. And then just in case there's any sort of fitment issues here, you want to be really careful when you shut the hood. So we will slowly bring it down. And so you can see there's a gap here. My hood hinges are pretty old and the hood's kind of sitting funny, but that's the thing most people are going to see, so we're going to kind of bring it up just a little bit, maybe split the difference. It is on my to fix list. It should really sit, you know, right around here, and that would be a nice fit. But not all things are perfect. So that looks pretty good to me. Stand back, double check. And then the trick here, so that when you put the headlight up, it doesn't lose its position, is to tighten the one exposed side as much as possible. So since I have an 8mm nut bolt here and a nut on the back side, I have to use a wrench to hold the nut on the back side. Unless yours has been stripped out and replaced like mine has, you want it to do this. Yours will be nice and easy, just tighten it with a wrench. If you're doing this after you drove your car, watch out for your radiator, because I just caught my arm and the car is still hot since I just drove it. So the next part of this is going to be pretty simple. You'll see on some Miatas there's this plastic shield here. It's a factory piece. I don't know if it's to prevent water when the headlights are up or what, but with this intake, it perfectly blocks the airflow to go where I want it. So I never drive this car in the rain, so I'm not really worried about water getting in here. If I get stuck in the rain, it's because it's an accident.
We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
And I intend to make a little plate that goes over top of the screen that's in this headlight cover, so that if I do end up being stuck in the rain, I can cover it for the drive home. But right now, we're just gonna unscrew this and take it out entirely. So it looks like all it is down here is 3 of these little plastic Phillips head screws. So hopefully, I mean, that'd be nice. I've thought about cutting it and putting it back on, and I might just cut out the section that I need. But for testing purposes today, removing it entirely is just as good. So I stuck my flashlight in there so you can hopefully see the intake. Let's go do some laps and see if it cools it down at all. So after another 5 minutes of steady temperatures, we got to about 107 degrees. Mind you, it's only a degree colder outside, so the fact that it didn't get down to 100 degrees is a little interesting to me, but I'm not entirely sure what's causing that. So now that it's stable, I'm going to put the headlights down and we'll watch it climb back up. It does not go as far. It goes to about 112 degrees, which is good. It's not great, but it's pretty good. So here's about as high as it got. It's 112 degrees. It fluctuates a little bit around here, but I mean, I did some polls, passed some people, and the temperature stayed actually pretty solid, which it didn't do with the old headlight. So this is definitely an improvement. I mean, I would have taken 2 or 3 degrees, you know, anything to make it colder. It's a little bit here, a little bit there. There you have it. Based on the data that I saw while driving around, ambient headlights down was 112 degrees. It kind of fluctuated a little bit. I mean, it's 5 to 7 degrees colder than it was with the old headlight cover. What I did find interesting was headlights up, it didn't get down to 100 degrees like it did with that cover. It kind of sat around 107. I'm not going to speculate as to what it was. I mean, we removed some stuff, we changed some things. I'm happy with it. I drive most of the time headlights down, so since I'm getting 112 degrees now instead of 118 degrees, that's definitely a step in the right direction. Still have some work to do, and there's still some things I want to try. Building an airbox would be number one. It's kind of a weird spot, so I don't know if I'm really going to go for that. We're going to put a turbo on that side next year, so who really cares? But another thing that I think is definitely affecting it is the intake air temp sensor is right here, and it's right behind the radiator. So I think it's just getting some heat soak, maybe as that 190 degree air blows across the surface of it. It's just plastic, so I might put some heat shielding over it. I will post in the comments below if heat shielding the intake air temp sensor helps. I'm not holding my breath, but I have some sitting around, so it's definitely not going to hurt. Let us know what you guys think about this type of content. We'd like to put it out every Wednesday. We do a lot of this kind of in-depth, detail-oriented stuff as we build the cars anyways, so all it is us recording it while we do it. We still want to give you that Saturday content that's the really high quality, nicely edited, big gimbal shots and stuff like that. We love doing that stuff, but we want to give you guys more. We're having fun doing all of this, so Wednesdays are just going to be breakdown videos, in-depth stuff. We're going to go over swaps, like radiator swaps, compression tests, engine pulls, stuff like that. I know there's a big market for that already, so we're just kind of stepping in the pool, but we do it anyway, so we might as well record it for you guys and give you more content. If you like this, hit that like button below, subscribe for more content, definitely leave comments. My favorite part of all of this is reading and replying to all of your comments below. Give us ideas of what you want to see. We love to make content for you guys, so if there's more that you want to see from us, let us know. We got some good suggestions on one of the last videos that we're definitely going to incorporate into future stuff, so we're listening. We do this for you guys, so definitely let us know. I have a nut on the backside, so I have to hold it with a wrench. Unless you've done this yourself,